Hey everyone, I'm Naguura and today I've got a dungeon guide for you for Season 1 of The War Within. Today we're gonna take a look at the Stonevault, a 4-boss dungeon located in the Ringing Deeps. At the very beginning of the dungeon, there's a narrow corridor leading up to the first boss with a high mob density. It might be tempting to do a larger pull here, but be careful to not engage too many invaders if your group doesn't have multiple Curse Dispels, because they apply a heavy-hitting dot to random group members. So be sure to spec into Curse Dispels if you can beforehand. A high priority interrupt for this section is the ghastly Void Soul's Howling Fear, which causes the entire group to flee in fear for 4 seconds if not interrupted. Also watch out for the Earth-infused golems. They cast Ground Pound, an uninterruptible AoE, slowing everyone and doing initial nature damage. As a ranged player, you can outrange this ability if you are further than 30 yards away. The first boss in Stonevault is E.D.N.A. The key mechanic here is volatile spikes, pillars that spawn beneath players. These pillars need to be destroyed in various ways, with the best method being to aim the refracting beams through them. Each destroyed pillar puts a ticking dot on the group, stacking up. The strategy is to deal with each wave of pillars immediately, as the boss casts Earth Shatterer after every second wave, destroying any remaining pillars and potentially causing lethal damage if not dealt with beforehand. E.D.N.A. also has a tank mechanic involving a magic debuff that the healer needs to manage. The boss periodically casts Seismic Smash, dealing heavy damage to the tank and applying a magic damage over time effect for 30 seconds. When this debuff is dispelled, the tank gains a 50% damage reduction for 6 seconds. The tank should use a major defensive cooldown to survive the first smash, and then the healer should dispel the magic debuff right before each subsequent Seismic Smash to utilize the damage reduction. Once E.D.N.A. has been defeated, you can choose to go left towards Skarmorak or right towards the Master Machinists. If you decide to go left, you encounter a few new mobs. You should especially watch out for the spoilers channeling Void Burst, an unavoidable AoE damage channel to the group, and make sure to assign a priority interrupt to the Howler's Piercing Wail. It does damage to the whole group and increases subsequent damage from the same ability stacking up if not interrupted. Skarmorak's main ability is Fortified Shell, a shield it casts whenever it runs out of energy. While the shield is up, the boss casts Void Discharge, dealing increasingly more damage to the group the longer the shield holds up. Occasionally, the boss will spawn unstable fragments. Soaking them will give players a 50% healing increase and a 50% damage buff towards the Fortified Shell. This buff stacks up and the duration gets refreshed whenever you soak a new fragment. Use the buff to deal with the shell, but be careful because in addition you also take ticking damage from the debuff. Additionally, the boss also spawns crystal shards on every tank smash. These have to be killed, otherwise the boss gains a bigger absorb shield during Fortified Shell. But make sure to kill them in a staggered fashion because they apply a stacking dot to the group on death. Once you deal with Skarmorak, you can take the minecart to return to E.D.N.A.'s room and make your way to the Master Machinists. On the way, you'll face trash mobs you've already seen, along with some new ones like Menders who attempt to heal an ally for 40% if not interrupted. Also be wary of the Forge Loader's lava cannon, which targets a random player and sends a large lava orb towards them. The Master Machinists are Speaker Dorlita and Speaker Brock. The bosses do not share a health pool and they enrage if the other one dies, so make sure to damage them evenly. Brock casts Molten Metal once in a while. This should be interrupted because it applies the damage over time effect on the group on cast success. Brock occasionally jumps to the side of the room and hurls a giant cube across the arena in a line. He will then start a Molten Metal cast right afterwards, so a ranged player should be ready to stop the cast from afar. Dorlita sometimes releases a big lava orb towards a player, similar to the lava cannon from the Forge Loaders on the trash leading up to the bosses, so get ready to dodge. Other than that, there are quite a few fire events, lava waves, and swirlies throughout the fight, so get ready to be quick on your feet. Now you can take the minecart back to E.D.N.A. again and the door to Voidspeaker Eirich will be open. On the way to Eirich, you will meet some additional dangerous mobs you haven't seen before. One of them are the Honor Guards. Watch out for their charge indicated by blue arrow on the ground. In addition, the Stone Shapers place Earth Burst totems that explode for group-wide heavy damage after 7 seconds if not killed, so make sure to not engage too many of them at once. The final boss of Stonevault is Void Speaker Eirich. He applies Void Corruption to the group, an infinite damage over time effect. The only way to get rid of this is by walking close to the Void Rifts that spawn around the edges of the room. The Void Rift will start pulling you in if you get close and be fatal if you get within 3 yards of the center. Additionally, on Mythic, they also get consumed if they remove a stack of Void Corruption and reopen on a different location. The boss also puts Entropic Reckoning on players. This ability applies a circle around each player that eventually places a Void Zone underneath your character. I recommend positioning the Void Zones closer to the center of the room, since Void Rifts spawn along the edges. Keeping the Void Zones in the middle helps avoid blocking access to a newly spawned rift. And that's it for the basic breakdown of the Stonevault. We can't wait to see the strategies you've come up with during the War Within Season 1. Make sure to subscribe to this channel so you don't miss the guides we have coming for the other dungeons. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!